Gaur Premanande. It's already running, is it? Okay. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshormilitanjena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaudati Se Namaha. Okay, well, we're happy to be here on this Saturday morning, or no, afternoon, with our friends here at the Bhakti Yoga Institute. I just came from Brazil, and I'm so used to having translation. It's been like 1 month, so I have to like get out of the pausing and go into smooth English. So today is a very special day for us. It's the appearance day of Gadadhar Pandit. In your family tradition, you're worshippers of Krishna? Okay. So we're also worshippers of Krishna. We're the Hare Krishnas. We follow Krishna consciousness. It's all Krishna, Krishna, Krishna for us. But we also place a lot of importance on the worship of Lord Gauranga or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
You're familiar. Okay. So in India, there's many different ideas about who Lord Chaitanya is. You know, some persons see him as a great saint, a great devotee of Krishna. Some even think of him as a communist or a socialist, because he was kind of like a revolutionary in his own time, broke down all barriers of caste, creed, and so on and so forth. But we are Gaudiya Vaishnavas, We are worshippers of Sri Krishna, but according to the conception of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and not only that, but we recognize Lord Chaitanya to be a non-different manifestation of Sri Krishna. So our gurus, they recognize a spiritual gradation. Within the spiritual realm, there is a gradation of different expressions of Bhagavan. So there is Lord Narayan's zone, there's Lord Ramachandra's zone, and so on and so forth. But and in a scientific way, these different zones or different expressions of divinity, they can be appreciated also from the perspective of gradation, in terms of how developed that expression is of divinity. So according to the analysis of our line of gurus, they recognize Sri Krishna to be the most developed expression of divinity, or even the original source of all other expressions, the fountainhead of all avatars. And why? Many reasons can be discussed. One of the main central points is that Krishna is described as, oh, Ram Sundar Prabhu is here, Dhanavad. Oh, what a happy surprise. Jai, Ram Sundar Prabhu ki jai. You need a chair. We're gonna...
No, it's empty.
It's okay.
Maybe we need a... Would you mind...
It's okay, it's fine.
Maybe, Pandit, would you mind bringing another chair? Because there is another lady who maybe she'll need it. So the principal reason that our gurus have given as to why Krishna is the highest expression of divinity is that he is described as Akila Rasamrita Murti, which means that he is the embodiment of all rasas. This word rasa you're familiar with, right? So this type of scientific. This type of approach is taken when assessing the development of a particular theistic conception according to the development of rasa. How much rasa is available? So how much rasa is available in the pastimes of Sri Ramachandra? How much rasa is available in the pastimes in the Leela of Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu? This is their line of analysis. And so Sri Krishna, because the degree of rasa is fully developed, or every rasa is available with Krishna, then for that reason he is considered to be the highest expression of divinity. Because
can you say type of relationship?
You can say relationship, but rasa doesn't only mean relationship. It's not limited to that, But in a more broad sense, rasa means a particular taste, flavor, sensation. We don't really have a proper English translation. So usually it'll be used, rasa will be used to indicate a particular type of relationship. But what that really means is what is that, right? That like flavor you're getting in that relationship between a mother and a son, lovers, friends, relative. There's a particular loving exchange there, the unique flavor of exchange. So we'll refer to that as relationship, but it's not limited to that. It means in a more broad sense, any type of, particular loving exchange or any particular sensation or feeling, So for example, in the pastimes, in the Leela of Lord Narayan, he does not have Janma Leela, right? Lord Narayan, he is simply eternally existent. So that rasa is missing. From one perspective, the general, more generic idea, according to the generic idea that persons have, then, God, how can God have parents? This doesn't make sense. God is supposed to be this great, Dandavad everybody, happy to see you. God is supposed to be this almighty figure, and he's unborn, he's causeless, so this doesn't make sense. God should be this very almighty and majestic, awe-inspiring being, right? This is according to our limited way, our limited idea of who divinity is or should be. But according to the perspective of rasa, then there's something lacking there. If there's no Janma Leela, there's no relationship of mother, father, and son. So there's something lacking there. There's something missing. In Narayan's Leela, there's no great degree of intimacy. Jai. There's no intensity of intimacy. So again, something is lacking there. There's always some distance, mainly dasya ras. The mood of servitorship is prevalent in Lord Narayan's Leela. Jai Prabhu, Dandavad. So many nice Vaishnavas turning up today. So according to this analysis, then in Krishna Leela, because every rasa is available with him, then he is in the highest position. It is fully developed rasa. Nothing is missing. It is complete. No? Our Param Gurudev Srila Sridhar Maharaj, with his very high Paramahamsa vision, he even used the example of a football. That the rasa there is so developed, it's complete. It's like a globe, like a football, he said, fully developed, everything is there. There's no angle, no corner, nothing is missing there, but it's full-fledged, fully developed.
Can we say something like this? Again, I'm asking.
Yes.
That our life, like we see our life right from birth to our death, we keep seeing so many things happening in our life.
Yeah.
And when we look at the life of Bhagavan Krishna,
Yes.
we can associate those events with those things. Like you said, like in Bhagavan Ram's case,
Yes.
the main episode that we discuss about Bhagavan Ram starts to happen when he goes to the forest with
Yes.
Sita. Whereas with Bhagavan Krishna, right from his inception, before even from his inception, when the Shakti visits Devki in the prison, she says that Krishna is about to be born. So
Yes.
right before his birth, the things start building up, and we can hear from learned people like yourself and others, and then we are able to kind of associate so many events happening from the life of Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna.
Yes.
Like events happen in our life. So maybe due to that we are able to associate more with Bhagavan Krishna than with any other deity.
Yes.
For that sense.
Yes. Yes, very nice comment. And this perspective, it's like a double-edged sword. Because on the one hand, yes, we can see that human life is very close to Vrindavan Leela, to Krishna Leela, right? And we understand that because it makes sense, because the highest expression of divinity, this experience in this world, it is described as like a perverted reflection of that. So everything that's going on there, this human life that we go through, it's like a type of mirror of that. And it, if we look within our own hearts, it makes sense that yes, that must be the highest thing, and that must be the highest thing to aspire for. Because why should I deny all of these different emotions and feelings and desires that I have within myself, right? If a new baby is born, it's something exciting, I mean, I personally don't get so excited. But many people do. I mean, it's human nature, and if there's a love affair, or, so many different dramas and intrigues, and if we look at like the complexity of different relationships that we have in our lives, and then if you look at different conceptions of divinity, usually it's something lacking. It's more like something that you'll put in a shelf, but you can't really identify it, and you can't really feel that. And a position there, attainment in that plane, it won't really satisfy this desire I have for this variety of different experiences, right? Why do people watch movies? Because they want to experience like the full palette of, and if people aren't living it themselves, they're living it through others. They're vicariously living, through movies and soap operas, television, Facebook, Instagram. If they're not experiencing it themselves, they want to experience it through others' experiences, right? So if we think from this angle of vision, it doesn't make sense to deny these natural tendencies that we have. It's normal for us to desire to experience this full range of emotion and experience. So we only find that accommodated for in Krishna Leela. So this is all like yes. This makes perfect sense. But then there's a danger here. Things can go in another. If we accept, okay, Krishna Leela, it's the highest thing, it makes sense. Then there's also danger because it appears so close to us. Then we can easily bring it down and limit it, restrict it, simply to what we actually experience in this world with our senses and with our mind. So we look at Krishna with his billions of girlfriends, and we think that's, like the ordinary sex life of people in this world, when it's not. And so this very particular term is used to describe Krishna Lila, and that is aprakrita. So prakrita means material, and aprakrita means not material, but the connotation is also there that it may appear to be material. So it looks very ordinary, it looks human-like, but it's not. So this is kind of like a warning sign that's put up, you know. Although it's looking very close, the foundation of it all is completely different, you know. Actually, everything that we go, all these, you know, emotions, desires, and tendencies we have, they're all normal and healthy. The only problem is that the direction in which they are channeled and the foundation on which they stand is false. It's misdirected, and it's based on the spirit of exploitation, selfishness. Whereas that higher lila, those higher pastimes, that divine play, all of these feelings and desires, they are channeled to their natural destination, which is Sri Krishna. And the foundation of it all is the spirit of dedication, giving, sacrifice. So although it may look like, you know, mundane, selfish enjoyment, exploitation, it's all taking place on this platform of sacrifice, of selflessness, of giving, of dedication, of service. So there's also this danger here that it appears to be the same, but it is and it isn't. So we hear this phrase, a perverted reflection. You know, it's like a reflection, but it's inverted. You know, it's like a mirror, but the image is inverted. It's like that. So in one way, it's very close to us, but in another way, it's very far. And so Lord Chaitanya is very important for us, because he came, first of all, to show that this is the highest goal of life, this is the highest expression of divinity, these apparently ordinary human-like pastimes, and also to demonstrate how dignified they are. Because if you look at Lord Chaitanya, how did he live his life? Lord Chaitanya, he was a monk, he was a sannyasi, very strict. He would not look at a woman. He was worshipping Krishna, who was a womanizer, but he himself was a very strict renunciant. Would not say the name of a woman, would not look at a woman. So he himself conducted himself in a very renounced mood, very extremely strict, very austere life. And so in doing that, he demonstrated that although, this divine, this play, these activities of the Lord appear to be ordinary, appear to be something of our own experience, they're actually completely different. They're taking place on a completely different platform. So Lord Krishna, we see his lila as something like as a worshipable ideal. It is an ideal, something to aspire after, but not something that we can imitate, not something that we can directly, apply within our current, daily lives and current spiritual practice. But Lord Chaitanya, he practically showed us how we shall conduct ourselves, and how we will be able to tangibly and realistically make progress towards that higher plane. So really, according to our gurus and their line of thought, we see it's impossible to have, a genuine approach to Krishna without the line of approach and perspective that's been given by Lord Chaitanya. Otherwise, it's like you can be very close but be very far away, without that proper vision. Like one example is given of a bumblebee that's on of a bumblebee that's outside a jar of honey. You know, so in one sense, that bee, it's very, very close, right? But actually, it's very far away. You know, it can see the honey. It can write volumes of books describing what the honey looks like and the scientific composition of the honey and where the honey came from and how it was harvested and who made, you know, who raised the bees and so on and so forth. But the main point is to taste the honey, you know, and to experience the sweetness of the honey. So in the same way, you know, with our intellect, with our mind, with our empiric senses, we can feel mistakenly that we're very close, but actually we're very far away. You know? So, you know, it is only through the grace of Lord Chaitanya and our line of gurus that we can hope to make a genuine connection and genuinely gain entrance into that in a real way, you know, in a substantial way. Does that make sense to you?
So that would mean that everything we would experience with our senses, with the mind, or any conclusion we would draw with our intellect would not be that. It will be the ascending method of understanding Leela, but we're aspiring for descending method.
Yes.
But then they say that ascending method wouldn't take you anywhere, but they're still like kind of doing it. So what would be the proper way of?
You're saying how should we utilize our intellect in this practice?
Yeah, in that sense that it's always ascending method of trying to reach to that through the faculty of intellect and the mind, but then at the same time we hear that it's not something what we can reach, but in the sense. So, right.
Well, our intellect, you know, I mean, first of all, we already have it, right? Now, you know, the intelligence is described as one layer of the material energy in Bhagavad Gita, right? The mind, the intellect, the ahankar, false ego. So it's something that we have right now. We cannot, you know, just deny its existence or, you know, try to artificially shut it down. We have it now. So, you know, what we're recommended is to utilize it now. So our intellect should be informed and guided by revealed truth, you know, by knowledge which has descended. So our intellect, it should be something that is like assisting us in the culture of faith. You know, yes, ultimately we want that higher descending experience, but in the meantime, you know, with what we have, you know, mentally, you know, physically, verbally, we will try to regulate all of these things, you know, according to the directives of the shabda, you know, of the revealed truth which is descending, right? And these things, they can help to support the culture of faith. We will use our mind and our intellect to, you know, guide us in the practice of Sharanagati, you know. And it's, you know, we can use these things to show our mood of trying. You know, it's just like when we're taking the holy names, we understand that with our mundane tongue and mundane sound vibration, we're not able to really vibrate the pure name, right? The holy name is something spiritual. So we cannot be so audacious or arrogant or foolish as to think that with our mundane faculties we can vibrate that holy name, right? We cannot. So then why do we do it? What's the point? Let's just give it all up. You know, let's just hang out all day and do nothing, you know. No, the idea is that we will use what we have, we'll use our mundane tongue, we'll use our mundane sound as a way of trying to show our desire. We're showing our trying mood, with whatever we have, maybe, it's like a little kid, a little kid wants to do something for its mom, but the kid doesn't know anything, has very, limited understanding, very limited capacity, so it may, make some mud pie, and that mud pie, it's not worth very much, but the idea is that the child is trying, and the mother's going to appreciate that. You're trying, So in the same way, we don't have very much, but at the same time, we have to do something, So with what we have, we're using that to show our desire to approach the Lord. So that will become an expression of Sharanagati, of surrender. And the Lord, when He sees we're trying, and we can't do it, we're like in this pathetic state, then He'll be merciful. He will give His grace. He will descend, and that real, that true holy name will descend, and will manifest. Does that answer your question?
So it's not about trying to open the door, but keep knocking until someone will open from the other side.
They may just burst in too, Yeah, that's a nice way of putting it. So what I was going to say in the beginning, but we got sidetracked, is so that highest. So if we appreciate spiritual gradation, then in terms of rasa, then Krishna is in the highest position. However, Lord Chaitanya is also recognized to be of the same level as Lord Chaitanya. Were you going to say something?
Lord Krishna.
What did I
Lord
say?
Chaitanya
Is recognized to be of the same level as Lord Krishna. Okay, sorry. Two chambers of the same. So the area where their play goes on is like two chambers of the same room, the same house, and this is one way this is explained is with these two terms, Audarya and Madhurya. So the word Madhurya, it means sweetness, and Krishna's Leela, Krishna's divine play, they are characterized by sweetness. They are the sweetest of the sweet. Lord Narayan's Leela is described as Aishwarya, grandeur, majesty, opulence. Then Lord Krishna is described as, his Leelas described as Madhurya. It is pervaded by intense sweetness, intimacy, love, charm, beauty, all of these deepest hankerings of our heart. And then Lord Chaitanya's Leela is described as Audarya. And Audarya means magnanimity, generosity, the spirit of distribution. So our understanding is that Lord Krishna, his play, it is the sweetest thing, it is the highest thing, it's the most wonderful thing, the most nectarian thing. However, it's kind of like a closed circle. It's going on amongst a particular group of, highly, elevated, evolved persons, but the door is kind of closed. They're having a good time, and they're not really, canvassing or, opening the door to outsiders. So this incredible sweetness is going on within a closed circle. But the mood of Lord Chaitanya is to distribute that, to give that in a very generous and broad and magnanimous way. So this is another reason why Lord Chaitanya is understood to be the only approach, the only way to actually get entrance into Krishna Leela, because Lord Chaitanya, he's distributing Krishna Leela. He's giving entrance to that. So there's one very beautiful verse by Srila Kaviraj Goswami, one of our gurus, Krishna, and Gurudev, our Gurudev liked this very much. Krishna Leela Mrita Sar, Tar Shatta Shatta Dar, Dash Di Ke Vahe, Jaha Hoite, Se Chaitanya Leela Hoy, Sarvar Akshoy, Mano Hamsa Charaha Tahate. That Lord Krishna's Leela, Lord Krishna's divine play, it is like a reservoir of Amrita, of nectar, of the most in the essence, Leelamrita Sar, the essence of nectar, the sweetest of the sweet. This is the nature of Krishna Leela. Then what is the nature of Chaitanya Leela? In Chaitanya Leela, that's nectar, the nectar from that lake. It's being distributed in hundreds and thousands of streams in all directions. So in this very, generous and non-discriminative, magnanimous way, so many streams are coming out from this reservoir. Mano Hamsa Charaha Tahate. And then this writer, Kaviraj Goswami, he's closing this very nice, invitation or benediction, saying, may the swan of your mind, he's speaking to the readers of this book, may the swan of your mind swim within this lake. Does it get any better than this? So this is the nature of Lord Chaitanya, to distribute Krishna, to distribute this sweetness in this very broad and magnanimous fashion. And today is a special day for us because it is marking the appearance day of one of the main assistants of Lord Chaitanya, Gadadhar Pandit. He is. Do we have the Panchatattva here? So this is describing this fivefold manifestation of the absolute truth. And Gadadhar is there, one of these principal five who assisted Lord Chaitanya in his distribution of Krishna and Krishna Nam. What is your name? Sorry, what did you say? Anju? Adua. Okay, nice to meet you. Is this your first time?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Green Street, I go to Green Street.
You go to Green Street. Okay. I hope you don't feel like you're in the deep end here.
Sorry?
I hope you don't feel you're in the deep end here, because we were in the middle of a discussion when you came in. So
Yeah, I'm catching up.
Okay. Okay.
And your name?
Vishakha.
Vishakha.
Yeah, Vishakha. Yes. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
What did you say?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Welcome. Did you come here alone, or you?
No,
You came with Ram Sundar. Okay. Okay. Very nice.
I live far, Wood Green, so
That's on the east side of London, right?
northern side.
Okay. So it's far from the Green Street Temple as well?
It's on the way.
Oh, so you picked her up on the way. Okay, nice. Very nice.
But I can come here, Piccadilly to Hatton Cross. No, Piccadilly from Wood Green
Oh, okay.
to Hatton Cross, and then
Yeah, you'd have to change a few times. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I should keep going, or I don't want to say too much. What did you say?
One thing on the thing that you were mentioning, I wanted to ask that Bhagwan Krishna was born like 5,000 years ago. we can say that he visited 5,000 years back. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can we say or can we assume that because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happened just few hundreds of years back, when our society was again like kind of in turmoil, like we are
Yes.
in today.
Yes.
So can we assume or can we say something like this, that at that point of time, our gateway or something like this that brought us together to again reincarnate the feelings that people would have lost in God, or bring people together again so that they can focus or they can realize that there is an existence of God. Can we say something like this? Is that correct, or is that because in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like you said, we see the incarnation
Yeah.
of God.
Yeah.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can be associated like a god who visited planet Earth on the modern world, compared to where Lord Krishna visited in a different yuga altogether 5,000 years back. So we can associate more with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu if we go deeply into that than with something which is happened 5,000 years back. Can we say something?
Well, I'm not completely sure of where you're coming from, but what I can say is that, first of all, our conception of time and space is very limited.
Yes.
Second of all, we tend to think in a very linear way, or at least the Western mind. Maybe the Indian mind is different.
No, it is our drawback that we always think in terms of time and length and space.
Yes.
Factors that we can perceive. So
Yeah.
if somebody says to me, this happened 50 years back, I am able to associate with it more than when somebody says that it happened 500 years back.
Yeah.
So naturally, in our limited sense of time,
Yeah.
we have this question mark to say, oh, this happened 500 years back.
Yeah.
And this happened 5 years back. And this happened 50 years back.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, because those who are living beyond the limitations of these things, they don't see it exactly like that.
okay.
And first of all, the Vedas, they describe a cycle. So the yugas are moving in the cyclic way, right? It's Satya, Dwapar, Treta, Kali. Satya, Dwapar, Treta, Kali. They're always moving in the cycle. So first of all, that already knocks us off our feet. Then we have to rethink everything there. And those who are living beyond the limitations of these factors of time and space, they're seeing things in a much broader way. And what we can say is that actually Kali Yuga, although this age of Kali, are you familiar with the different yugas or ages in time? No. Okay. Well, the scriptures
I am familiar, yeah.
Okay. They describe these 4 ages that the world moves in a cycle through. So from one perspective, so this Kali Yuga, it's the age of quarrel, right? It's the last of these 4 ages, and it's considered to be the most degraded, right? Because by the influence of time, everything is always degrading, and so we don't need to present evidence for that. Pick up the newspaper. So from one perspective, Kali Yuga is seen as this, it's the worst time. But from another perspective, from the deepest perspective, from a theistic perspective, a spiritual perspective, it's actually considered to be the best of the 4 ages. Because of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. And because Lord Chaitanya, if we forget about time, just the fact of what it is he's presenting, that he's able to give entrance to the highest thing. He is distributing Krishna prema, divine love for God, which is the highest attainment of any soul. Lord Chaitanya is the one giving that, So if you compare with Satya Yuga, then mostly they had Brahman conception, Brahma conception, the conception of the non-differentiated absolute, impersonal, formless, non-variegated absolute. Right? The Vedas describe these four main phases of the absolute, Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Mainly in the Vedas. The Vedas are vague. They're not jumping to give you the highest thing. They're not jumping to give you the pot of gold. They're keeping it hazy according to the capacity of the general people. So we hear, in Satya Yuga, mainly persons, they're engaging in yoga, meditation, and their conception of the absolute, it's hazy. So that Lord Sri Krishna, the Aprakrita Leela of Vrindavan, is the highest thing. That is not clear. That is not clear. That is why Vyasadeva, he wrote finally Srimad Bhagavatam. You're familiar with Bhagavatam? So Bhagavatam was the last text of Vyasadeva wherein he clarified that this, Bhagavan, first of all, Bhagavan, and then within Bhagavan, Krishna, that is the highest. Vyasadeva clarified that in Srimad Bhagavatam. But otherwise, yes, there's some description of Krishna here and there, and there's some touch of Bhagavan here, and there's Paramatma here, and there's lots and lots of Brahma conception here and there. But there's no clear and systematic analysis of the gradation of divinity, right? So then Lord Chaitanya comes along and he makes it all very clear. Not only does he make it very clear what is what and what is to be understood to be the real conclusion of the Vedas, what is understood to be the highest goal of life, but he also gives entrance to that. He shows us the path to attaining that, and he gives entrance to that. So from that perspective, I won't say from the perspective of time and space, but in terms of what he's given, then his position is unique and supreme. And so then we consider Kali Yuga to be actually the time of greatest opportunity. It is like a contradiction. There's one verse in Bhagavatam, Kalir dosha niderajan yastihe ko mahanguna kirtanade vikrishnasya mukta sangha paramvarjat. That this age of Kali, it's the worst age. It's a terrible age. There's so many faults, so many things wrong with this age. However, it has one mahagun, one very great quality, that kirtanade vikrishnasya mukta sangha paramvarjat. That just by this simple practice of kirtan, of Krishna Kirtan, of chanting, Mukta Sangha Paramvarjat, you can become liberated from this world, and beyond that you can attain position in the positive plane of a dynamic absolute, dynamic spiritual reality. So this age of Kali, it is a contradiction. But it is a great grant, it is considered to be, first of all, the human birth is already a very rare and precious attainment. But then a birth in this particular, age, in consideration of the grant given by Lord Chaitanya, it is, we're like blind and deaf and dumb people passing out our days, not really appreciating, what we have, But it is considered to be something very rare and very precious. Does that answer your question? Prabhu, is the offering completed? Should we do arati now or? A few minutes, okay. We have a few minutes. Well, it's been very nice to speak with you and having ourselves some stimulating discussion. And so then Gadadhar Pandit is one of the whose appearance we are honoring today. He is one of the principal assistants, companions in the Leela of distribution of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, Gadadhar's mood is he's described as being very, very gentle and very humble, very, very simple, reserved, very tolerant nature. Maybe we'll just tell one story about Gadadhar Pandit, since we have a few minutes. Well, there's one very nice story. Well, let me think. Which one should we tell? Well, one of the most famous stories about. Well, first we'll say Gadadhar. Something about his life. He like grew up in the same town of Navadvip in Bengal with Lord Chaitanya, so they knew each other their whole lives, and from his birth, Gadadhar, he always displayed a very natural devotional mood, whereas Lord Chaitanya, he, like as a kind of play, in his early life he posed as a very great scholar. He was known as Nimai Pandit. They made that movie, Nimai of Nadia. Maybe you okay. It's an old black and white movie. But anyway, Lord Chaitanya, he posed as this very great scholar. And he was very famous. At that time, Navadvip, Navadvip, it's next to Calcutta, if you don't know it. But it was like a center of learning within India. And so Lord Chaitanya, within that area, he was recognized as having like the highest position, and he was invited to teach in surrounding districts. He would travel, and so he went through this phase in his life where he showed himself to be like this arrogant scholar, and he would even like give the bhaktas a hard time. He would give the devotees a hard time, and because he was so brilliant, he could defeat them in arguments. And he would sometimes debate with someone and he would defeat them, and then afterwards he would undo the argument and defeat himself. He was that brilliant. But it's told he would give the Vaishnavas a difficult time. And to the extent that sometimes if he was walking down the street and some of them saw him coming, then they cross over to the other side of the road. So he had this this play, this mood, this posing, in his early life. And then at a certain point, his father passed away, and he went to Gaya to perform his last rites. And then at that time he met one guru, Vaishnav, Ishvara Puri, and he showed himself to be converted by him, and then he became this like full-fledged Vaishnav, and he came back to Navadvip like a changed person. So you can see, there's a particular reason for this, course of events, because when he became like this emotional bhakta, everybody had to pay attention, because it wasn't like he was just some idiot, but he'd show that he was this brilliant scholar. So someone of that level of intellect, he was becoming this emotional Vaishnav. So, you have to pay attention, you have to respect that, it's not just something whimsical, but there's some developed reasoning and understanding behind that. So Lord Chaitanya, he would, in later years, he would sometimes praise Gadadhar, saying, I wasted so much time in my youth, but you've always been a devotee of Krishna. You're so much more than me, But and then later, when Lord Chaitanya, he ended up basing himself, after he took sannyas, he took to the renounced order of life when he was 24, Lord Chaitanya. Then he decided to settle in Orissa, in Puri. And Gadadhar, he followed him there, and he remained close to him. And they'd spend like their whole lives together. And every day, Lord Chaitanya was staying in one place, and Gadadhar, he was staying at one temple called the Gopinath Temple, which is still present today. Oh, Nitai Prabhu, Jai. You're just in time to lead Aarti. And Karuna also. Dhandavat. So Lord Chaitanya, every day he would go to visit Gadadhar, and Gadadhar used to read Bhagavatam to him. And especially in his later years, Lord Chaitanya manifests a mood of extreme separation from Krishna. He was showing this mood of the soul living separate from their Lord, a state of like heart pain. So Lord, in his last years, Lord Chaitanya particularly manifested this mood. And Gadadhar, he had this very, unique and special service of giving some solace, some consolation of the heart to Lord Chaitanya by reading Bhagavatam verses. And our Param Gurudev Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he wrote a very beautiful verse describing that. Nilambodita de, Nilambodita te, Nilambodita te. Now it's gone out of my head. Nilambodita de, Saraswa Viraha, Kshepammitam Bandhavan, Srimad Bhagavati, Katha Madiraya Sanjivayam Bhatiya Srimad Bhagavatam Sada Svanayana Shupayana Pujaya Goswami Prabhudo Gadadhar Vibhor Bhuyat Madeka Gati. Very fine and high verse, and describing how Lord Chaitanya, in this mood of pain, feeling separation from Krishna, his heart is bleeding with this pain of separation. Then he's Nilambodita te, means because they're in Puri, the ocean is in Puri, right? And so they're on the banks of this broad blue ocean in Puri, and Lord Chaitanya is in this mood of deep separation, and his very dear friend Gadadhar, he is supplying some consolation to him. And the analogy is given here in like as a type of wine. Like if someone's like really heartbroken, then they go and drink, right? Drown your sorrows, right? They say that, drown your sorrows. So in the same way, you want to forget your troubles. So in this comparison is made here, that Gadadhar, he's trying to offer some consolation to his dear friend, seeing that he's suffering, by offering him these verses of Bhagavatam, like this wine, the wine of Bhagavatam, this divine intoxicating substance of Srimad Bhagavatam. He's supplying that to try to give some life, some relief to his dear friend. And then it's also this verse, it just blows your mind. I'm just skimming the surface. There's so many layers here, it's outside of the scope of today, or right now. So then the verse goes on to describe how Gadadhar, right? He's seeing his friend, his dear friend, in this pain, and he's also feeling some, emotional response to that. And so Gadadhar, he's also crying. And his tears, they're falling onto the pages of the book that he's reading. And Srimad Bhagavatam, Nayanashu Pujayan, his tears, they're compared to flower offerings that are falling on the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. And they're washing away the letters of Bhagavatam. So as he's reading, then these flower offerings of tears are falling and washing away the letters of the book. Goswami Prabhupada Gadadhar Vibhor Bhuyat Mad Ekagati. That's best of Goswamis. Sri Gadadhar Pandit Goswami, may he be my only shelter. Oh, very extraordinary verse written by our grandfather Guru Srila Bhakti Lakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. So today is that very, very special day for us, and we pray for His grace on this day. Okay, well, I think we can stop there. Jai Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami Avirbhav Titi Mahamahotsav Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Jai Shri Harinam Singh Jai
Jaya Samayana Sri Guru Radha Yogi.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. Our last chance.
Para equilibrar a vertente do familiar